Howdy everyone, I'm Grandpa Cecil and I'm part of Grumpy Gramps Gaming. We'd like to welcome you whippersnappers to How My Stuff Works with Grandpa Cecil, where we go over some basic and some not so basic things to get your stream up and running and look just like Grandpa Bill and I. So without further ado, let's jump right in and get into it. Alright, first thing we need to get into is you got two things. You got scenes and you got sources. Your scene is your main picture that you're going to paint, right? Or you call it your piece of paper, right? And then your sources, they're like the little paintings you're going to put on or the little stickers you're going to put on in different areas of your scene to get a nice, beautiful screen for your viewers. So as you can see here, I've got multiple scenes going already here, and we've got this chatting one, and then I've got my sources. So what I've done is I've got this brick background that I've created as my background. Then we've got my webcam here, right here, and then we've got old Grandpa Bill, he's moved. And then we got some music that we add in. Right now it's not playing on here because I want you all to be able to hear my beautiful voice. And then you can see we got the logo and things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and go down here, and we're going to go to this one right here. And the reason we're going to do this is I'm going to show you how to add a new source. Well, maybe first we should show you how to add a new scene. It's pretty easy. You hit add and you name the scene. So we can name it whatever. We're just going to call this Wreckfest, right? Because we're going to add Wreckfest. All right, since you didn't get to see that, you just hit the plus here, and then you title your scene whatever you want, and then you hit OK. I can't hit OK, otherwise it'll go black because I got this display capture, so you can see what I'm doing. But then it would show up down here, right? So then over here, you've got your sources. So there's a couple things that people like to add into your sources. Sometimes people like to play with external things like found inside stream elements. That's a different thing, but if you want like your recent follows and shares, there's different ways to do that. We'll get some videos into that later. But the big most important thing people like to have on their screen is a couple of things. One would probably be a logo, right? You got a logo for your stream, you got a logo for who you are. Let's see, let's go ahead and add that. So we're going to go in, we're going to go ahead and add an image, and we're going to create a new one. We're going to call it Grumpy logo, right? We're going to hit OK, and then we're going to browse here. Now once I find it, it's probably going to lose some of this stuff, but we'll get it back, don't you worry. So we'll go logos. I'm going to find my logo, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it in, right? And unload image when not showing. So I always like checking this. That way when this scene's not active, it's not using the resources to show this picture because you're not showing it. All right, so now you see we've got that up here in the corner, and we got everything else. So it's all going still out to eternity. So the other thing people like to add is a webcam, right? Webcam. People will need to see your beautiful face, stuff of that nature. So you're going to click add down here like I just did, and you're going to go to video capture device. And you're going to create new, probably call it webcam, that, or something that you're going to know what it's called. You can call it duplidangle if you want. I don't really care. So move this. I need to move this down so it's below everything so it doesn't take up. All right, so now we're going to go in here and we'll show you the properties. So you click on here in device and you select your webcam. I don't have a webcam plugged in right now, so it shows my capture card and then the OBS virtual camera. Not a big deal, right? I suggest leaving most of all this the same. You can play with it if you're having issues, maybe your frames per second or your resolution if you're having issues, but I recommend just to leave it to what the webcam's default is so you have the least amount of issues. So then once you get that in there, you go ahead and hit OK, and then you'll see it shows up. Now you may be like, hold on a second, I don't want that Grumpy logo up there. So you can go ahead and hit this little eyeball and make it not show.
show, not show. Okay. The other thing is you got layers here. So if we move this down, it's going to be behind the display capture, right? So watch what happens. Oh, it disappeared. That's because the display capture is on top. So if we wanted to re-show, we're going to put it up there. And then if we wanted our webcam to show, which we need to resize so you know it doesn't get crazy on us. See, now we're going to put it up here. See, now we got our spot for our webcam. It's black right now because, like I said, I don't have a webcam plugged in. So that's the basic of how you add your sources. Next thing we'll go and get into is just the general settings, and then we'll go into how to set up your stream for the first time. So stick right with us. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get into them settings here. So I'm gonna click on the settings. I'll drag this over just a little bit so everybody can see everything. We'll kind of go over some of these real quick. So general settings, not too much important here. Just leave everything kind of at default. Automatically check for updates on startup. I advise you doing that. That way you know if there's an update. You know, they fix problems with updates sometimes. Well, you know, sometimes that causes problems too with updates, so you do what you want. The other thing that I like sometimes recommend people do is automatically record when streaming. So this way, you always, when you hit start streaming, it's going to automatically record, and you don't have to worry about hitting record. Now, I do this a different way through a macro keyboard hotkey little setup, but that's a different video we'll get into in a little bit. But until then, if you want to go ahead and check mark that, not a bad idea. Stream, we're going to skip that for right now because we're going to come back to that. That's the end part of this video. Output. All right, now this is, well, hold on, we're going to actually go down to video because this is a pretty important part right here first to then go into your output. So your base canvas resolution, that's what you building on inside of OBS. Always leave that 16:9. That's standard size of the screen, stuff of that nature. 1920 by 1080, that's where you want to leave that. Now on your output resolution, this is where, depending on the computer you have, what you're trying to do, you may want to downscale this a little bit, right? So you want to keep the aspect ratio to 16:9, and you can go ahead and do 1920 by 1080, or they also have by 720, same aspect ratio. Well, you know, and it just brings the stream down quality just a little bit, but you know, maybe you need to do that because you're just starting out. The other thing you may need to do if you're just starting out and you got not, you know, computer that's not up to, you know, what the professional streamers have, is you may want to change this frames per second down to the 30 because that's going to save a lot. It's not that noticeable, especially when you're starting out. You don't want to stress over this. You want to stress over, you know, what's going to get people to come in and watch your stream. You being you having fun, things of that nature, not this kind of stuff. So, all right. So now we went over that. Now we can go back to the output here. So you got two options. You can do simple or advanced. If you do simple, most of these settings here are going to be options. It's just you can't separating between streaming and recording, right? But I like to set this up a little, you know, so I got it on advanced. If you've got one of them fancy NVIDIA cards, I believe, you know, definitely the 2000 and 3000 series cards got it. They have these little invent chips in them. This chip is designed to only do encoding. It doesn't increase the GPU load when you use this. I mean, it may be like slightly, like 0.5% or something, very small, very minimal. Because like I said, it's got a separate chip on that GPU just to do this. So if you've got it, I highly recommend it. Now you'll see some of this stuff's grayed out. That's because I'm recording right now, so we can't do much. So we don't want to rescale the output. We want to leave it at the 1080 because we handled all that under this section here under video. So we're just going to leave that there. Rate control, I like to use CBR. Constant bit rate. It's where it always tries to hold it at that constant bit rate, right? And then for what I'm streaming at, which is by the 1080 at 60 frames, they recommend, I believe, somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 bit rate here. So I choose to do 5500. Don't want to max it out quite a bit. Depending on the quality of rig you got, quality of internet, you may need to back this down a little bit, or maybe you can increase it. That's another thing that kind of affects how good your rig you got on what your stream quality will be. So you got that there, and then under recording, you got the same similar kind of thing, right? You got your encoder, your output, and you got your bit rate. Go ahead and set all of that the same. The other thing is your recording format. So I have mine at MP4, but it's like, warning, if you do this, you may lose your recording if your computer has failure. Well, I'm not overly worried about that, because, well, I'm just not. But some people are. So you can change it, and you can record to an MKV file, and then you can what's called remux to record and write through OBS. It's pretty simple to do. It tells you right here if you need to do it. I mean, I'm not going to get into it. Okay, so that's a bit important things there. Audio. Here's your other important things on how you're going to get your audio. You want people to hear your beautiful voice, see, have some background, have your game audio, that kind of stuff. So I use Voice Meter. That allows me to do some fancy, semi-fancy things, which that'll probably be another video. But for the most part, you're going to want to come in here and you're going to want to just click on default for your desktop audio. So when you just listening on your desktop, that's what's going to play onto your stream, which is good for most people. That's going to pick up your game volume. If you in a Discord or something, it'll pick up the Discord people, all that kind of stuff. The other thing is your mic. So I've got a Razer Sirene X, but like I said, I'm using Voice Meter, so we're not going to change that right now. But you just select whatever microphone you have right here, all right? And then once you got that, you're pretty well good, right? The only other thing we really need to go over is stream, because we're going to have a video on hotkeys here in a little bit, but we're going to go over this stream section next. So stick right with us. I'm going to go ahead and go on over to the Facebook, to the big blue, and I'm going to show you where you can find this information there. Now, on the other channels like YouTube and Twitch, it's going to be real similar. If you just do a little bit of searching, you'll be able to find this as well. So hang right with us. We'll be right back. All right, now you go on over to your Facebook gaming page and you're going to scroll down until you see this live area right here. You're going to click on that, and then the next thing that's going to happen is, hold on, we're going to make that go. Okay, here we go. And it's going to bring you to this section here. All right, you're going to want to use a stream key, server URL. You're going to need to copy that. I'll show you where to paste that to in a moment, so don't worry about it. And then this stream key, this is specific to everybody. So there's two things I want to point out here. One, it's specific to you, so don't share it. And two, if you want to use a persistent stream key so it never changes, so you can set it in OBS and forget it, which is what I recommend, is you want to make sure that's on. So you see, they make it real easy. You just copy right here for it. So have this page set up, and then I'll show you in the settings where you're going to put this at. Okay, now we got back into the OBS. We're going to click on the settings, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to click on stream. And this is where I just showed you where your server URL, you're going to copy and paste it into here. And then remember, as we discussed earlier, we're going to have it on custom right here for Facebook. That way you don't get the warnings for not streaming at what they say. But if you're going to do Twitch, or you want to do one of these other ones, they got all these options here. And as I said, you can search and you can find the server URL and stream key and all the pertinent information. So then the next thing here is on the stream key, you're going to copy and paste that over, and then you're going to be good to go. You're going to hit apply, and then you're going to hit OK. And then we're going to show you one last step you got to do in Facebook, and then you'll be almost ready. Almost ready. All right, now. So now we're back on the Facebook going live page, and we're just showing you the left-hand side of it here, the live producer section. So as you see, you got to put a title. It's where you want to get crazy. Get a little fancy, Get people to be interested. Get yourself a good title there. Little description. I like to put my title back in the description, and then I also like to say a little bit about what's going on. Maybe my stream schedule, what we got planned for the coming week. Who knows? You can put all kinds of stuff there, right? And then and then you want to tag a game. If you don't tag the game, they're gonna be like, hey, you should tag a game to get more people to watch you. So I recommend tagging a game. And the other thing I recommend doing is getting you a thumbnail image, a good thumbnail image going live. You doing a silly face, you going like this, or whatever. But get a good image there, because that's what people are going to see when they're scrolling through. So get you a good image. All right, now once you got all this stuff filled out, down here you see it grayed out, real gray. You can barely see it, but it says go live. Okay, once you got all this stuff filled out, and then you click in your OBS to start streaming, right? This button will go blue. And then you click on that button, and guess what? Guess what, everybody? You live on the Facebook. You live. You stream it. Everybody can see what you're doing. You say hi. You play your video games. Maybe get in a hot tub. Who knows? You do whatever you want. So that's how you go live, and that's how some OBS basics are. So we appreciate y'all stopping by, checking out our video. Hopefully we helped you out. If you want, we'd appreciate a like or share, or maybe just come by and say hi sometime when you see us live. It don't matter. We appreciate y'all, and thank y'all for coming by, and y'all come back now, you hear?